Tonight on To The Point. Just days into the new school year, hundreds of students evacuated after a bomb threat. The latest on the investigation. Plus, addressing our climate, what politicians are proposing to help protect Lake Tahoe. Is local news under siege? Tonight, we explain how big tech is involved in this political ad. And later, the battle over your privacy behind the wheel. How your car's data could lead to high car insurance rates. Good evening. Thank you so much for joining us on To The Point. I'm Alex Bell, and there were some scary moments today for teachers, students, and parents at a Placer County elementary school after a bomb threat was emailed to the principal. And it all happened this morning at Creekview Ranch School, which is near Roseville. Investigators say an email was sent around 9 a.m. to the principal saying sometime in the near future a bomb was going to explode at the school. 800 students were evacuated while Placer County's explosive ordnance team searched the school with canines. 4 hours later, after no trace of a bomb was found, the students were allowed to return to class.
There's information right now that we're working on. This is happening nationwide today. I can't verify that information, but that's part of the information the detectives are looking into.
Now, the district says they will do a full event debrief with the sheriff and a private safety consultant. The district says the back to school night will be rescheduled, and they will have a person from the district and the Placer County Sheriff's Office to answer those parent questions. And today marks 3 years since the Caldor fire sparked in Grizzly Flats and moved through the forest, eventually threatening South Lake Tahoe. Scenes like this, with thousands trying to evacuate into Nevada or go north, played out on TVs across the country. And today, on that 3-year anniversary, an annual summit was held in Tahoe to discuss preserving the area as our climate changes. And as ABC 10's Jeannie Nguyen explains, it is a chance for politicians to work together.
Lawmakers on both sides gathered here in Tahoe today to agree on the same thing, protecting the lake. And with this year's theme being transit, trails, and technology, scientists tell me that if we do focus on those 3 things, it could help preserve the future of Tahoe. With Lake Tahoe's blue waters as a backdrop, the 2024 Lake Tahoe Summit kicked off with California and Nevada lawmakers.
And to apply all of your energy and knowledge and wisdom to protect this place. But also know that it will not be protected unless we think about the larger context.
Democrats and Republican lawmakers put politics aside today,
making sure that we are doing the work to continue to protect the Tahoe and the Tahoe Summit.
Protecting Lake Tahoe.
You know, we have this amazing national treasure right here, and folks have just put politics aside, and we've worked on ways to protect it for generations to come.
Wildfires are an issue. The Caldor fire in 2021 burned more than 220,000 acres. Scientists say all that burning causes problems.
But the fine, thin particles further away from the fire that maybe make the beautiful sunsets that we see, they actually have a lot of nutrients and metals that can stimulate algae growth.
On top of fires, transportation and crowds at the lake are contributing to pollution. Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg, the summit's keynote speaker, says clean energy investments are helping.
On behalf of the Biden-Harris administration, I am also thrilled to formally congratulate you on our almost $8 million award for new diesel-electric hybrid buses that improve service and reduce congestion, pollution, and noise in this community.
With another $4 million to go into emergency communications and technology to analyze travel. So far, scientists say if we continue to practice these habits, Tahoe should be healthy for generations to come.
Unless we make some of these subtle changes, that in 10 or 20 years, our kids won't have the ability to change things back.
Encouraging people to reimagine what transportation to Tahoe could mean. In Lake Tahoe, Jeannie Nguyen, ABC 10.
And this annual summit is organized by a Nevada senator. It used to be run by the late Senator Dianne Feinstein. And tonight, a 24-year-old man is in stable condition after a bear attack in Tuolumne County. The Department of Fish and Wildlife says the man was just on a jog along North Fork Road around 5 p.m. on Monday when he saw a female bear and a cub. The bear charged at the man, chasing him up an embankment. Officials say that the man grabbed a large stick and hit the bear on the head while trying to hide behind a tree, and the bear kept chasing him, ultimately to the roof of a nearby car. A couple of neighbors heard the man's screams, and they intervened.
Came out and grabbed these two metal chairs that I have and made myself really big and started clanging them together, and it took off down the hill.
And the man suffered multiple injuries to his back, side, and legs. Wildlife officials collected samples to be tested at a forensic laboratory in Sacramento. Officials say that if you do see a bear, make sure that you keep a distance, avoid running or making eye contact, and make yourself look and sound bigger. Governor Newsom today announcing that he will be providing more than $130 million through the Home Key program to create supportive homes for those experiencing homelessness. About $17 million of that will go to the Sacramento County Housing Authority. The money will be used for the Madison Square Studios project, and it's a hotel acquisition that will create 118 homes at the site of the old Super 8 hotel, and they are expected to be completed in May of 2025. And there is still a push in the state legislature to help protect grocery and retail workers from the dangers surrounding self-checkout machines. New data shows as the systems become more common, understaffing has also increased, leading to lone workers becoming very easy targets for theft and violence. Senate Bill 1446, also known as the Retail Theft Prevention and Safe Staffing Act, would help protect workers and the public by ensuring safe staffing levels and better supervision of self-checkout machines.
The data makes it clear that self-checkout machines cause 16 times more loss than checkout via cashier, with billions lost in profit. And therefore, they have a responsibility as retailers to address this issue of retail theft.
The bill would also require stores to provide notice on new technology in the workplace that is intended to eliminate, automate, or electronically monitor workers' job. And the bill is currently working its way through the assembly. You may have seen a political ad just like this saying that local news is under siege from, quote, big out-of-state media companies and hedge funds. And the ad has been airing on air and online, encouraging people to tell their lawmakers to oppose Assembly Bill 886. And tonight, ABC 10's Luke Cleary explains what the law does and how big tech is involved.
Our local news keeps us informed when others won't.
This political ad warning about the future of local journalism is funded by the Computer and Communications Industry Association. Its members include big tech companies like Meta and Google.
If you look at these ads on the TV, and they're also popping up on Instagram, you'll see them on social media. This is a very expensive opposition campaign.
Matt Pierce is the president of the Media Guild of the West, which supports AB 886, the California Journalism Preservation Act, and a similar bill in the Senate. The law would require massive tech platforms that control the digital advertising market to pay a usage fee to news outlets in exchange for profiting from their journalism.
These big tech platforms have been competing unfairly. They have taken away too many of the ad dollars that have supported other businesses like local newsrooms, and that those big tech companies need to pay some of that money back to make sure that our local newsrooms can still function.
Support local journalism.
At a Senate hearing in June, a Google representative spoke out against the bill, saying its links to news content are not lucrative.
The bill would also break the fundamental and foundational principles of the open internet, forcing platforms to pay publishers for sending valuable free traffic to them, which they choose to receive.
The company says the funds raised under the law could go toward hedge funds with histories of stripping newsrooms for parts, and warns that such a law could cause it to stop linking to news content altogether,
while reducing the web traffic local papers rely on.
Pierce says he isn't convinced.
They are not journalism companies. They are not the journalists themselves saying, hey, the government's about to do something to hurt journalism. These are the people who would be paying for it, and they don't want to pay for it.
And we also want to note that we did reach out to Google for comment on this story. They directed us back to their Senate hearing testimony, and the company says it has shared its own proposal to increase its contributions to California-based journalism. Next, on To the Point, the race for the White House, how both campaigns plan to address the economy and inflation.
Temperatures warming a little bit from where we started earlier this week. How long those warmer conditions stick around as we're edging towards the weekend.
And later, how your car data could be influencing your insurance rates.
Hey, Chief Meteorologist Monica Woods with our forecast tonight. Beautiful day outside, nice
Certainly
and sunny.
was. And warmer, I
Yes.
know. Just kind of edging towards those normal afternoon highs for us as we're starting to see some of those warmer weather conditions settle in for the end of the work and school week. I know it's been one of those readjustment periods as everybody's starting to kind of edge back to that school year, kind of getting up in the morning, getting dressed out the door, grabbing a jacket, don't need it for the afternoon. That's how things are going to continue into our Thursday and Friday with the clear skies and lighter winds. So temperatures today right about average, low to mid 90s region wide. Downtown Sacramento, Sacramento Executive, Stockton and Modesto included. Cool morning lows though around 60, and we'll see that play out again for tomorrow. Starting off with morning lows in the low 60s, highs warming back to the mid 90s. Now we've been seeing these lighter winds. There's plenty of cool air along the coast, but with the lighter winds, it really hasn't been making its way inland. Those winds increase over the weekend. Unfortunately, our weather impact headline is going to include the higher fire danger in the Sierra for Saturday, with the fire weather watch in play due to the gusty winds, low humidity, and the potential for rapid fire spread. And this transition happening during the end of the work week into the weekend. High pressure ridge basically keeping us on the warmer side of things through Friday. And then as this low starts to approach, that's what's going to drive back that onshore flow, bring down the temperatures and elevate the fire danger. Highs for tomorrow in the 70s for the Sierra, with 80s and 90s for the foothills. Along the coast, we're going to keep it right about the low 70s. Inland areas, though, region wide in the 90s. Again, after morning lows in the upper 50s to lower 60s, one of those days that we have kind of the layering effect going on. In the mountains, highs will stay in the 70s through the weekend, with 80s to near 90 for the foothills. Across the coast, a mix of sun and clouds. Our highs staying in the upper 60s to lower 70s. 3-day forecast. These are going to be some warm days here Thursday and Friday. Highs low to mid 90s. Upper 80s, though, on Saturday, a near repeat on Sunday before we start to see some slightly warmer weather ahead next week. But all in all, pretty close to where we should be this time of year.
All right, Monica, thank you. Next, on To the Point, the Fed could be closer to cutting interest rates. What's the latest reporting signaling, plus how both presidential candidates plan to address the economy. And the battle over your privacy, how your car's data could be leading to high car insurance rates. Tonight, in the race for the White House, former President Donald Trump campaigning today in North Carolina, promising to refocus his message on the economy and inflation. And it comes as Vice President Kamala Harris is set to visit the state later this week. Christiane Cordero has the latest tonight from Washington.
Today, former President Donald Trump cast his early ballot in the Florida primary before taking the campaign trail to the Blue Ridge Mountains. Speaking at a rally in Asheville, North Carolina, Trump on offense over the economy.
Remember? Couple of days ago, and we will have no tax on tips. I said that was my plan. Not only didn't she, I mean, they came up with a plan to go after all these people violently. Then one day she just uttered that sound, but she'll copy a lot of other things too.
But the former president still drifting into personal insults.
What happened to her laugh? I haven't heard that laugh in about a week. That's why they keep her off the stage. That's the laugh of a crazy person, I will tell you. If you haven't known it, it's a crazy.
Vice President Kamala Harris plans to lay out her economic agenda when she rallies in North Carolina on Friday. She'll first join President Joe Biden at an event in Maryland. And on Saturday, Trump will campaign in Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania. Minnesota Governor Tim Walz held his first solo campaign event since becoming the Democratic vice presidential nominee. Walz attempting to relate to the group of union workers in Los Angeles.
If each of us does an extra shift, an extra hour, a little bit more, we get to wake up on that morning after the election and know that the work we did transformed the lives for millions, transformed generations.
Both campaigns continue to make their case to a key demographic, the middle class in battleground states.
We're going to take back the White House. We're going to restore American manufacturing, and we're going to restore our whole country, and it's going to start right here in the state of Michigan.
The Harris-Walz campaign says it's launching a $90 million paid media ad buy for the last 3 weeks of August, targeting every battleground state, expanding their reach in Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Ohio. And we are just 5 days away from the Democratic National Convention in Chicago. ABC News will have live coverage Monday through Thursday starting at 7 p.m. right after To the Point. We are also speaking with California delegates ahead of the convention. You'll hear more from them this week on To the Point. In other news, Donald Trump has lost his latest bid for a new judge in his New York hush money case. In May, Trump was convicted on 34 felony counts to illegally influence the 2016 election through a hush money payment to Stormy Daniels. Today, the judge in the case declined to step aside. It is now the third time that judge has rejected the former president's request. And Trump's lawyers argue that the judge has a conflict of interest because his daughter works as a political consultant for prominent Democrats, and Trump is expected to be sentenced in the case next month. He has pledged an appeal. Turning now to the Israel-Hamas war, Palestinian health officials say Israeli strikes across the Gaza Strip overnight and into Wednesday killed at least 17 people, including 5 children and their parents. And the strike comes as there are new talks of a ceasefire deal. The United States, Qatar, and Egypt are hoping to broker an agreement, but a top Hamas official tells the Associated Press the group is losing faith in the U.S. as a mediator. And on Tuesday, the U.S. State Department approved $20 billion in arms sales to Israel, including scores of fighter jets and advanced air-to-air missiles. The Palestinian death toll in the war has reached more than 40,000 people, according to the Gaza Health Ministry. And the World Health Organization is declaring monkeypox a global emergency. The African Center for Disease Control and Prevention says cases among children and adults have been confirmed in more than a dozen countries. They say a new form of the virus is spreading and few vaccine doses are available on the continent. So far, the African CDC confirms there are more than 14,000 cases with over 520 deaths. Tonight in your price points, the latest report from the Labor Department says inflation cooled in July, and this could signal interest rate cuts from the Federal Reserve next month. So the report shows that prices were up 2.9% year over year, better than economists expected. Core inflation, which does exclude food and energy, also rose 0.2% for the month and 3.2% for the year, in line with expectations.
That is a significant improvement. Getting below that 3% marker shows that there is this trend of inflation cooling, that prices aren't going up as fast as they were.
Although inflation remains almost a percentage point higher than the Fed's target rate of 2%, there is a good chance of a rate cut next month, which would be the first time in over 4 years. And turning now to your privacy behind the wheel, there's a new legal battle over the way car companies are collecting your data and selling it, which could be leading to higher car insurance rates.
Tonight, General Motors in the hot seat. Texas is suing the car maker, claiming GM violated the privacy of millions of Americans. The lawsuit claims the company misled customers into sharing data about their driving habits by enrolling them in technology-enabled safety programs and then selling the information collected by those programs to data brokers. That data on customers' driving habits allegedly ended up in the hands of insurance companies, prompting them to raise some customers' rates.
This is the beginning of an era where we will continue to be connected in every possible way. Cars might seem like the last bastion of this, cocoon-like environment, but it's one more thing that's getting connected.
The lawsuit comes months after a New York Times investigation revealed GM and other automakers were selling customers' data, including the start and end times of trips and even instances of speeding and hard braking. The Texas Attorney General saying millions of American drivers wanted to buy a car, not a comprehensive surveillance system. A General Motors spokesperson says the company has been, quote, in discussions with the Attorney General's office, and says we share the desire to protect consumers' privacy.
And General Motors may not be alone. Authorities in Texas are also investigating other car makers for their handling of customer data. Still ahead on To the Point, how wind energy could help in California's goal to become carbon neutral by 2045. California has a goal to become carbon neutral by 2045. Putting wind turbines off the coast are part of the plan to get us there. But are we ready? 5 sites off California's coastline hope to provide 5 gigawatts of power to the grid in 2030 and 25 gigawatts by 2045. The first site expected to go online would be off the Humboldt coast, and proponents say it will get us away from burning fossil fuels and move us toward cleaner energy. Others say impacts could be more far-reaching than we think.
Can the California current large marine ecosystem handle that? We don't know, and we don't know what the cumulative impacts on not only fisheries, because that's one aspect of it, but the shoreside dependent users of that, the fishing communities, the marine ecosystem itself. All of these things are so interrelated.
Coming up on Thursday night on To The Point at 6:30, you will hear from legislators, marine experts, fishermen, and Eureka residents about wind energy, how it may or may not be the solution for California. And this debate has many rethinking the timeline and the strategy. It's definitely a story that you don't want to miss. As always, thank you so much for watching and inviting us into your home. We'll see you right back here tomorrow. Have a great night. Hey, it's Alex. I just wanted to say thank you so much for watching. The To The Point team and I love hearing from you, and I hope that you'll stay in touch. And don't forget, you can always email me and the team at tothepoint@abc10.com, or you can even send us a text message at 916-321-3310.